Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Victoria-Monique and I'm here to either love you back into all of your magic, or if you already feel that you're into all of your magic and just here to explore more of Neville teachings, explore how to do the game of life in a really easy and effortless way, and then you came to the right address. So I also offer one-on-one coaching and other things. So if you'd like to work with me, then check the description. If not, you're super welcome as well. So today I want to speak about a couple of things. I want to start off with the success of one of my clients that I work with one-on-one. So I think this video is going to be titled The Secret to Success, because obviously there's not really a secret. Everyone knows the secret, and the secret to success is allowing yourself to be all of you, all the parts of you. Because what we do without knowing it is judging ourselves for wanting something, judging ourselves for being a certain way, looking a certain way, thinking a certain way, and all of this judgment actually creates situations and experiences and versions of people that you're not really looking to experience. Everything comes from within. Everything is a reflection of ourselves. So it starts and it ends with self-judgment. So in short, what I have helped her with, let me give you one of the successes that she's actually living at right this moment. So she is living in Berlin. She's originally from Australia. And one of her clients invited her to fly across the world to come to help with whatever, some things. And so that's a pretty awesome manifestation, that one of your clients that's on the other side of the world says, hey, you know what? I would love for you to come and speak here and there, and arranged everything for her to come over. You can't make that stuff up. Like, it's a wish of yours, depending on what your wishes are. But for her, it was a wish, and it happened. And it happened because I am mostly, that's what I feel I'm doing. And well, actually, that's my focus. So that's what I'm doing. I am assisting her in allowing herself to be all of her and to release resistance. And that's it. Life can be really easy. Mostly why we coach with someone else, because I also have coaches. Like, I did a lot of coaching with regards to the releasing of resistance. And now I have a coach that assists me in another way. But in the end, it's all resistance, by the way. But okay, I'm digressing. So what was the point that I was trying to make? I think it's with regards to how I helped her specifically. I lost a train of thought. It doesn't really matter. What is amazing is that I get to witness her amazing, like everything what she does. It's like the Midas touch. We all have the Midas touch, but sometimes things turn to gold and sometimes they turn to shit. It's still the Midas touch, because in the eyes of God, everything is amazing. In the eyes of humans, not so much. So the secret to success is allowing yourself to be all of you. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. So we have coaches because you can do everything by yourself. Like, it's, of course, you can never veer off path. The only thing that can happen is that you can choose a path that is full of obstacles. And when you work with someone that knows what they're doing and that have gone through it themselves, then the path is a little bit easier. Like, you have less traffic jams. But you can do it. You don't need anyone, right? So that's also what I wanted to put out there. And another thing that I wanted to explain, if you're curious about, if you know me a bit longer, you know that I changed my name. So Victoria, it's now Victoria-Monique. It used to be only Monique. Balmati is my second name now, my third name, and then my last name. Well, you can see all of it in my YouTube. Like my full name is there. So why is that? If you're curious, I will explain it to you now. At one point, I just felt really strongly it doesn't reflect who I am anymore at all. Only Monique. And I was a part of Josiah Brand's. He just started his new coaching platform at that time. And I was living in New Zealand at that point in time. And he came with an exercise that it boiled down to give the new version of you a name so that whenever you step into this new version of you, you not only have the qualities but also a name so that you kind of like link the two together, and that whenever you hear that name, you embody that version of you. And so at one point, I came to the name Victoria, and I thought, you know what? It is actually, it feels like it's me. It suits me. And then I got all of these signs that I can tell you, but wouldn't make sense to you because they're super personal. Like all signs are personal. Signs and symbols are personal to me. So you can share them with anyone, but they will never really get it in the way that you get it yourself. So I'm not going to share the signs with you. That's the moral of this story. And I shared it with a group of people that the Power of 11 was the name of this group, which is another amazing manifestation, but that's for another time. And I shared it with them. I said, hey, I'm going to change my name into Victoria or Victoria-Monique. And the way that they responded and my own feeling was like, yeah, this is it. This is now my name. And I am lucky that I already had people in my life that had changed their name. So while it did feel a bit uncomfortable at first, I have to say, I was strengthened by the idea that I had created people around me that had already done that, so I didn't feel too weird about it. Because you might be able to imagine that it feels weird to change your name, and then all the things you go through when people start asking, like, why did you, that's not your name, blah, blah, blah. So it took a bit for me to get used to, and it was also, on the other hand, it was also easy because every time I would meet new people, and I meet a lot of new people. Hello, son. I would introduce myself with my new name, and in the beginning, that created a couple of really interesting situations that someone would call me and I didn't respond, and I was like, oh shit, they're calling me. Yeah. And yeah, so now I'm fully feeling it, and actually it feels off now when someone calls me by just when someone says Monique, like my parents. It's for them. It's and people that have known me really long. So it's that's interesting because I feel a disconnect when I only hear Monique, but it's like that's a story for a different time. So that's why I changed my name, and I love it. I love it. And what I also love, and I didn't even realize that in the beginning, is that Victoria stands for victorious. And that's how I really feel. I feel victorious. So this might inspire you to also think about, do I want to add something to my name? Do I want to change it completely? Do I? Yeah. So whatever you feel and whatever you do, it is all good. Yeah. Curly hair, gotta love it. What else? Yeah, I've had a lot of specific people success. It is so amazing. I've been thinking at least five people in the last 2 days that I'm like, this is so cool. this is so cool how it works. And every one of them was held lightly. There was no pushing, there was no, I need this to happen, otherwise I don't feel complete. It was effortless, a thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to, that's it. That was it. No endless affirming, no scripting, no. There's nothing wrong with that. We can have it be easier though. And I think the easier comes from when you know how to shift states, because it's all about a state. You script, you affirm, you do these things to shift states. So these things are middlemen, they are tools. When you know how it feels to shift states, then you can just assume it without having the need for the affirmations. So another secret to success, because there are different secrets to success and everyone has a different way, and you have your own way. I have my own way, and I also change my ways. I'm just giving you some options that you might want to try on, so that none of them are wrong. They're only wrong when they feel wrong within you. And you're the only one that can tell. No one else. No one can tell you what to do. Nobody. Not Neville, not Christ, not Bashar, not Buddha. Nobody can tell you. You know. That feeling within you, you know. So, assuming states. For me, it's now pretty easy to just shift. I've been affirming a lot the last couple of, if we speak in linear time, because there's no linear time, right? I've been affirming a lot. And now for me, it's just like, where do I feel I'm residing? Ooh, yeah, no. And it's just, I make an assumption and I'm there and I use others to show me where I am, because I'm always surrounded with people somehow, either people close to me or people in the street or people in the gym or, whatever. So I assume who I am by their reflection as well. I can feel it, and it's also nice when I get the reflection back. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the video, like how the image is. You can just listen to what I'm telling, or you turn it off. Also good. And so switching states, I love how Edward Art says this. There's a video of Edward Art called Reasoning My Bondage, and I'll link it in the description. And he speaks about how reasoning actually keeps you trapped. And you know that affirming is actually reasoning. So I don't fully agree with him that it keeps you trapped, but you might go into the, am I doing it right? And when you go into the am I doing it right, then you're reasoning. So it's about just not questioning. Don't question anything. Am I doing it right? So yes, I do use others around me as a reflection. It's a confirmation for me to, and I also like it. I like seeing results of my assumed state. And there's kind of like, it can go both ways. It can hinder or it can amplify. So just be mindful when you decide to use that. Be mindful of your feeling. We're still in a physical world, so I also really like to use what is in physicality. I also really like to use my body, for instance, and I see on like how my body changes and how much stronger and more flexible I get that I've shifted states, because there's no linear time. There's only a shifting and an assuming of states. So I use it. I use physical reality. Yeah, that's what I want to say about that. And I want to read you something from Neville. It's going to be pretty long. So either pause this and take a cup of tea, come back later, or ignore it altogether. Whatever you feel like doing, it's all good. So this is from Awakened Imagination and the Search, Chapter 7, Creation is Finished. You might remember from one of my other videos that I open my Neville reader, my really big Neville reader. I just open it randomly, and then I know that that's the message that I am meant to, want to convey. So chapter 7, Creation is Finished. I am the beginning and the end. There is nothing to come that has not been and is. Blake saw all possible human situations as already made, states. Blake saw all possible human situations as already made, states. He saw every aspect, every plot and drama as already worked out as mere possibilities, as long as we're not in them, but as overpowering realities when we are in them. He described these states as sculptures of losses halls, distinguishing therefore states from individuals in those states. States change, but individual identities never change nor cease. The imagination is not a state, said Blake. It is the human existence itself. Affection or love becomes a state when divided from imagination. Just how important this is to remember is almost impossible to say, but the moment the individual realizes this for the first time is the most momentous in his life. And to be encouraged to feel this is the highest form of encouragement it is possible to give. This truth is common to all men, but the consciousness of it, and much more, the self-consciousness of it, is another matter. The day I realized this great truth, that everything in my world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within me, and that the conditions and circumstances of my life only reflect the state of consciousness with which I am fused, is the most momentous in my life. But the experience that brought me to this certainty is so remote from ordinary existence, I have long hesitated to tell it, for my reason refused to admit the conclusions to which the experience impelled me. Nevertheless, this experience revealed to me that I am supreme within the circle of my own state of consciousness, and that it is the state with which I am identified that determines what I experience. Therefore, it should be shared with all, for to know this is to become free from the world's greatest tyranny, the belief in a second cause. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are those whose imagination has been so purged of the beliefs in second causes, they know that imagination is all, and all is imagination. One day I quietly slipped from my apartment in New York City into some remote yesteryear's countryside. As I entered the dining room of a large inn, I became fully conscious. I knew that my physical body was immobilized on my bed back in New York. Yet, here I was, as awake and as conscious as I have ever been. I intuitively knew that if I could stop the activity of my mind, everything before me would freeze. No sooner was the thought born than the urge to try it possessed me. I felt my head tighten, then thicken to a stillness. My attention concentrated into a crystal clear focus, and the waitress walking walked not. And I looked through the window, and the leaves falling fell not. And the family of 4 eating ate not. And they, lifting the food, lifted it not. Then my attention relaxed, the tightness eased, and of a sudden all moved onward in their course. The leaves fell, the waitress walked, and the family ate. Then I understood Blake's vision of the sculptures of Losses Halls. I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. Creation is finished. I am the beginning and the end. There is nothing to come that has not been and is. The world of creation is finished, and its original is within us. We saw it before we set forth, and have since been trying to remember it and to activate sections of it. There are infinite views of it. Our task is to get the right view, and by determined direction of our attention make it pass in procession before the inner eye. If we assemble the right sequence and experience it in imagination until it has the tone of reality, then we consciously create circumstances. This inner procession is the activity of imagination that must be consciously directed. We, by a series of mental transformations, become aware of increasing portions of that which already is, and by matching our own mental activity to that portion of creation which we desire to experience, we activate it, resurrect it, and give it life. I want to read this one more time, and I'm going to. We, by a series of mental transformations, become aware of increasing portions of that which already is, and by matching our own mental activity to that portion of creation which we desire to experience, we activate it, resurrect it, and give it life. So this means that you match the vibration of something. He speaks about we're matching our mental activity to that other creation that's already finished. So it's actually you tap into that which already is. You're shifting states. You're shifting realities because everything is now. This experience of mind not only shows the world as a manifestation of the mental activity of the individual observer, but it also reveals our course of time as jumps of attention between eternal moments. An infinite abyss separates any 2 moments of ours. We, by the movements of our attention, give life to the sculptures of Losses Hall. So he actually says that everything is kind of like standing still until we put our consciousness, our flashlight on it, and then it starts to become animated. Creation is finished. And Bashar also speaks about this, right? That there's no linear time. There are only frames. And we step from frame into a different frame, into a different frame. What was my favorite quote again? Every single moment you are shifting from parallel reality to parallel reality. It's your consistency of self-definition that makes it seem as if changes take time. If you really learn to redefine yourself wholly and behave like you have done it, you will be a different person in a different reality with a different DNA and a different history and a different experience. It says the same, but from a different perspective, from Bashar's perspective. Think of the world as containing an infinite number of states of consciousness from which it could be viewed. Think of these states as rooms or mansions in the house of God, and like the rooms of any house, they are fixed relative to one another. But think of yourself, the real self, the imaginative you, as the living, moving occupant of God's house. Each room contains some of Loss's sculptures with infinite plots and dramas and situations already worked out, but not activated. They are activated as soon as human imagination enters and fuses with them. Each represents certain mental and emotional activities. To enter a state, man must consent to the ideas and feelings which it represents. These states represent an infinite number of possible mental transformations which man can experience. To move into another state or mansion necessitates a change of beliefs. All that you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. But it must be matched, for that is the necessary condition by which alone it can be activated and objectified. This book is heavy, man. Matching the beliefs of a state is the seeking that finds, the knocking to which it is opened, the asking that receives. Ask and it is given. Go in and possess the land. The moment man matches the beliefs of any state, he fuses with it, and this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, dramas, and situations. It becomes the individual's home from which he views the world. It is his workshop, and if he is observant, he will see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of his imagination. So it's kind of what I spoke about, right? That I use everything around me like to tell me where I am. Am I there, what I assumed? It is for this purpose of training us in image making that we were made subject to the limitation of the senses and clothed in bodies of flesh. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of his Son, that our Father waits for. The creature was made subject to vanity not willingly, but by reason of him who subjected it. But the victory of the Son, the return of the prodigal, assures us that the creature shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the sons, children of God. We were subjected to this biological experience because no one can know of imagination who has not been subjected to the vanities and limitations of the flesh, who has not taken his share of sonship and gone prodigal, who has not experimented and tasted this cup of experience. And confusion will continue until man awakes and a fundamentally imaginative view of life has been re-established and acknowledged as basic. So really use your imagination as the basis of everything. Leave the world alone and ignore your five senses, and always, always, always start in imagination. I should preach the unsearchable riches of Christ and make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world has been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ. And bear in mind that Christ in you is your imagination. As the appearance of our world is determined by the particular state with which we are fused, so may we determine our fate as individuals by fusing our imaginations with ideals we seek to realize. On the distinction between our states of consciousness depends the distinction between the circumstances and conditions of our lives. Man who is free in his choice of state often cries out to be saved from the state of his choice. And ye shall cry out in that day, because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us. Choose wisely the state that you will serve. All states are lifeless until imagination fuses with them. All things, when they are admitted, are made manifest by the light. For everything that is made manifest is light. Holy shit, this chapter is long, man. Okay, 2 more pages. And ye are the light of the world, by which those ideas to which you have consented are made manifest. Hold fast to your ideal. Nothing can take it from you but your imagination. Don't think of your ideal, think from it. It is only the ideals from which you think that are ever realized. One more time. It is only the ideals from which you think that are ever realized. Man lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. And the mouth of God is the mind of man. So everything you think is actually God speaking. And God is your wonderful human imagination. Become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Have a set, definite aim, or your mind will wander. And wandering, it eats every negative suggestion. So just be aware, be conscious. If you live right mentally, everything else will be right. By a change of mental diet, you can alter the course of observed events. But unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. You illuminate or darken your life by the ideas to which you consent. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed. And you feed on the ideas from which you think. If you find the world unchanged, it is a sure sign that you are wanting in fidelity to the new mental diet, which you neglect in order to condemn your environment. You are in need of a new and sustained attitude. You can be anything you please if you will make the conception habitual, for any idea which excludes all others from the field of attention discharges inaction. The ideas and moods to which you constantly return define the state with which you are fused. Therefore, train yourself to occupy more frequently the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is creative magic. It is the way to work toward fusion with the desired state. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, you would be master of your fate. But unfortunately, you shut out your assumption for all but the occasional hour. Practice making real to yourself the feeling of the wish fulfilled. After you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, do not close the experience as you would a book, but carry it around like a fragrant odor. Instead of being completely forgotten, let it remain in the atmosphere, communicating its influence automatically to your actions and reactions. A mood, often repeated, gains a momentum that is hard to break or check. So be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end you desire to realize to thinking from the end. But the crucial matter is thinking from the end. For thinking from means unification or fusion with the idea, whereas in thinking of the end, there is always subject and object, the thinking individual and the thing thought. So become it is actually what he's saying. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled, in your love for that state, and in so doing, live and think from it and no more of it. You pass from thinking of to thinking from by centering your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Phew! Okay, Neville, thank you. I found the last bit a bit flowery because your mind could get trapped into, yeah, but how do I do this? Yeah, but how do I go to thinking of, from thinking of to thinking from? So the how, if you're still kind of new to this, affirming helps, scripting helps. If you know how this shift feels, you can assume and then you shift. For me at the moment, it's literally a reminder that I hear or read, I shift, and it's done. And it's different for everyone. So I'm over making this video, so I'm gonna stop now. I intend that it brings you everything that you desire it to bring you and beyond. And I will see you in the next. Peace.